to level up where I'm playing the Can You Beat series one more time, where I'm revisiting I'm revisiting a save that I actually started on level 7 here. So I decided to play as Captain Phasma. Now, Captain Phasma is a stormtrooper who is trying to rejoin the ranks of the Empire, as it were, instead of joining the rebellion, or maybe even just the local militia. And so the rules for this were I could only use energy weapons. I could only wear white gear, as well as I allowed myself to use power armor and chemicals and stuff like that, because I think the Empire doesn't really care how you get done, just as long as you get it done. Now, the biggest thing here that I kind of wanted to relay to you is that I tried my damnedest to beat this the first time around, and I deleted all the data. I was like, I give up, and I ran out of things to try because I'd beaten Fallout 4 a number of ways, and I thought, what's a good way to beat Fallout 4? And I was like, I could try it versus, with can you beat Fallout 4 via Tarkov, which is actually the mod that you're seeing there, the healing factor. And I thought, no, why don't I actually try to revisit the playthrough where I try to beat Fallout 4 as a stormtrooper? Now, mistake number one, and one of my few naps here, is that my conserve ammo method was the stun baton. You don't want to give Piper a bow and arrow with some nuke arrows because she uses all 4 or 5 of them up front and lets you take a nap. So the next thing that I found out here is that in those missions to start the Brotherhood of Steel missions, they're the boys getting a little crazy there, is that they'll send you to different random spots to look for the flux capacitor, the flux sensor, just some of the quote-unquote technology that you need. Now, one of the problems is that they'll send you to DLC areas. Now, it wants me to go to Far Harbor here. That's not technically part of the Fallout 4 main game quest, where you shouldn't have to leave the areas. So what I ended up doing was I ended up force finding, where like I just went to like, if it was like, oh, go here, I just went to an unknown area that's got a bunch of enemies, cleared them all out, and then I quote unquote found them. Found Brotherhood Brandis, and Brotherhood Brandis doesn't want to rejoin the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, the one interesting thing about this playthrough is that because you're a clone, I felt that you shouldn't have any more points in one than really any other spot. So I tried to use, what was it called? Excuse me there. I had like 6. I think I had the bare minimum in science to be able to mess with the science to be able to mess with the weapons, but everything else was like a 3 or 4 across the board. And so I kept quick saving, kept quick loading to try to get Brotherhood Brandis to rejoin the Brotherhood of Steel, and he would not. So I kind of ended up giving up here, and I was like, all right, well, you're not going to go ahead and rejoin the Brotherhood of Steel, so you can say farewell. And Brotherhood Brandis may or may not have had an accident, because sometimes that trigger finger, you sneeze once or twice, and what do you know? It goes off maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and it just happens to smoke Brotherhood Brandis a couple times. I mean, see, I lost it there. I sneezed a whole bunch of times. Decided to strip Brandis of all of his gear, put Piper in it because why not? And went and talked to Brotherhood Dance, or Paladin Dance, I should say. Told them that everyone was dead. Yeah, even Brandis. I had to think about it for a second. Did I want to tell him that I killed him or not? But no, yeah, he's dead. And then I went ahead and I realized that you have to rescue Nikki. You just have to rescue Nikki to advance the storyline. Darla took a Molotov cocktail right to the face, and then I burned the rest of all of his triggermen and stuff like that. And I've always wondered why Skinny Malone liked Darla. I mean, even though, Darla kind of looks like one of the girls that I dated in the past. And so with one of the nude mods that I had on, I went ahead and checked her out and was like, yeah, no, she looks like one of my ex-girlfriends naked. So that's kind of cool. And found the correct art here, passed a speech check on the first go around. I actually was pretty impressed and pretty excited about that. Ended up killing the correct art because he was a synth. And I ended up beating him with my baton. Found out that, yeah, no, I killed the correct art for the first time in a long time because usually I kill the wrong art. And then I went ahead and chatted with Kellogg for a brief moment. But before I talked with Kellogg, I took a brief little nap right on the couch there. Thanks to one of his turrets, gave me a little NyQuil there, and I passed out. Decided that I was going to take some Jet, some Psycho, and some Med-X because I just didn't care to listen to him talk. and I went ahead and sent him on to the afterworld because I think like there's some mod that kind of explains how old he is, and I think he's like maybe 20 or 120, 130 years old or something like that because of his cybernetics. Went ahead and upgraded one of the people in one of my neighborhoods with his stuff, and thought that this would be a good time to stock up on Institute parts so that way I could help Piper out. And yes, I was listening to the Chris Hansen podcast. I actually very, very much like the Chris Hansen podcast. It's actually very interesting. And then I was able to successfully continue on with my mission with the Brotherhood of Steel, aka the Empire. Now, one of the things that I chose the Brotherhood of Steel over versus the Institute is because the Brotherhood of Steel kind of acts like the Empire in the movies. If you actually do a lot of their side missions and you follow through with them. Now, this is one of the first issues that I found in the game is that they'll send you over here to like get the nuke password, or this was the start of the nuke stuff here, but you have to at least kill some of them with a chain gun. Now, if you go back to the movies as stormtroopers, you can't use any projectile weapons, or I should say any ballistic weapons. So I had to restart the mission, go walk over there and handle it all myself with my gun, with my laser weapon, because you just couldn't. And then talk to Virgil. Virgil told me that I needed to go find a courser. Ended up finding the courser here in just a brief moment. And one of the things that was very interesting to me is that, see those three dots up top? When you fire your gun, they all disappear. And I actually upgraded to the sniper rifle barrel, the sniper with the scatter on there. I found spray and pray, added the spray and pray effect to my to this, so it had a little bit of extra, explosive damage. Finished off the Raiders there, but I don't understand what the three dots are. Found my courser chip, and then made it to the railroad. As always, I really don't like dealing with the railroad, period, in a story, and I decided to take everybody out there. Believe it or not, for those of you who do or do not know, the girl is actually is synth. Found Dance, and Dance now is technically a synth as well too. And I gave him a little bit of rousing speeches, like, you can do this, you can make it. And I made him feel good about it because I kind of may or may not have accidentally took out my weapon and sneezed again while aiming at his head and, deciding that he needed to exit the world on a peaceful, happy note there. I don't know why he paused, but I ended up killing him out there. And this is where I feel like I beat Fallout 4 as a member of the Imperial Army, aka a stormtrooper. Now, when you are a stormtrooper in the game, you're kind of just a useless throwaway entity. Like, what is it? They have like, oh, we have like 30 million Imperial units or blah 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 or something like that in the movies. But like you're just a cog in the greater scheme of everything in there. I mean, yeah, I think it's Phasma is her name. And fun fact, if you name your character Phasma, Codsworth will actually call you Phasma. But I talked to Elder Maxon. Elder Maxon gave me the rank of Paladin. I rejoined the ranks of the Brotherhood of Steel, aka the Empire, and I successfully beat Fallout 4 as a Stormtrooper. I found my way back to the Empire. I'm now officially part of the Empire, and I feel like I beat it. If you like what I do and want to keep watching me, great, cool. Keep giving me a look here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you have a way that you feel I should try to beat the game, please put it in the link down below. I've beaten it a couple different ways. I don't know really how else I can try beating the game other than some, like survival or anything crazy like that. But I'd highly encourage you to give me a look here thing. And I'd love to know what your thoughts and feelings are on it. I really appreciate you watching my videos, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day and a great week. I'm going to go hop back on the Chris Hansen podcast and rock out to that. I love your faces, everybody, and I'll see you next time.